Welcome back to Mouse from Gaming Studios. I am Craig, and today we are covering the just launched Balance Dataslate. It's a smaller update, not a ton of big things, but if you are a Tyranids fan, there are some important changes here we do have to cover, as well as other things for all of you who play Warhammer 40k. Well, some of you who play Warhammer 40k. Now, this is my first video back in a while, first one recording. I have a video coming out on Monday that is my official first video back, sort of, welcome back, blah, 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 all that sort of good stuff. But GW dropped this today and I figured, all right, I better cover it and not wait, a week to do it because, everyone will cover it by then. So we're just do a quick video here for this Friday, cover some changes, nothing too crazy. But yeah, I'm back, and now with all that out of the way, let's dive into today's video. So like I said, check the timestamp of this video if you are watching it in the future. This is October 20th, and GW has launched another Balanced Dataslate, this one for quarter, I think they technically call it quarter 4, but I guess it is quarter 4. Some changes, limited to just a few armies, so no army or game-wide changes coming in this Balanced Dataslate, just some tweaks. So we'll go over all of those right here. So GW dropped a video today about their Warhammer 40k meta watch, and this is an interesting video. I'll put a link, if I remember, in the description down below if you haven't seen it already. It's kind of a lengthy video. It's like 20-ish minutes, but they go into depth about how they gathered some of their stats, why they did the changes they changed, and just kind of gives you an insight that GW hasn't really shared much before when it comes to their balancing of the game. So check it out. It does give you a little bit of insight into what they did about this, but also if you want a quick down and dirty version of the changes, I'm going to go through those right here, right now. So let's dive into those changes. First off, it's just some army buffs. 2 armies in particular got a little bit of love. The first one being the Adeptus Mechanicus. They got all of their Balanced Dataslate changes reverted back to normal. So if you got a codex, you read the codex as it is, with an exception that the point changes that they put in, I didn't see anything that said otherwise, but I believe the point changes are still in effect. So you got to deal with those, but all your special rules, stratagem changes, all of those are back to the way they originally were in the codex. Personally, this is good, but I don't think it's quite enough to help AdMech. The biggest thing with AdMech right now, why they were so good earlier on and why they're struggling now, is the CP change. AdMech are notorious for spending 5-6 CP at the start of the game on all their relics and warlord traits and everything, because they could give those to sergeants essentially, and you could really kit out some of them. Like even you put a relic and a warlord trait on a Ruststalker Alpha or Princeps, whatever they're called, 2 CP on him for a relic and warlord trait. In older rules, that's fine, and it really made a difference in the unit. So now you have to dedicate a third of your CP just to make one unit potentially better. They have to take a lot away from there, but we'll see how that goes. As an AdMech player on the side, I'll try them out a little bit. We'll see how it goes, but not sure for sure. Not sure how those changes will come in. Other small change is that the Adeptus Astartes got one of their secondaries tweaked. Shock Tactics now went up to 4 VPs instead of 3 if you achieve it. This is the one if you control an objective that your opponent previously controlled at the end of your turn or the start of your turn. Don't know for sure, but oh yeah, it would be end of your turn, duh. So yeah, 4 VPs, I guess it makes it, instead of having to do it all 5 turns in order to achieve it at max points, even though you only half the time you could achieve it on your first turn. So now if you do it for 4 turns, you get it. I understand it'll probably make it much more achievable and bump up the scoring of Space Marine players a bit. We'll see how it does in the end. Seems minor, but maybe it's just what they need to get their win rate up just a little bit. Some nerfs. So there are 3 armies that got nerfs to various degrees. First one for all of us is the Tyranids. The Tyranids have had Leviathan changed like I predicted and many of us have predicted. Leviathan has been changed, so now the transhuman only affects Synapse monsters. Not the Synapse creatures, but Synapse monsters. So your Maleceptor, your Hive Tyrant, Swarmlord, Turvagon, anything you put the Synapse upgrade on, so people are still going to be playing with synaptically enhanced Harpies, I think. Huge change. It seems very small, but to someone who's not a Tyranid player, but Leviathan Warriors were they were out of control. They were good. One of the best troop choices, if not the best troop choice in the entire game, only second to maybe the Harlequin troops. You could toss up which one's better there, or was better there. But yeah, just being able to have -1 damage, always have transhuman on them, and have an invuln on them at all times, at least for one unit. Yeah, it stacked up to make them ridiculously difficult. Now, you still have this. You still have the 5-up Feeling of Pain, or you could have 5-up Feeling of Pain in addition. Now you can have 5-up Feeling of Pain, 5-up invuln, and reduce damage by 1, which is still good. It's just not transhuman. So we'll leave it at that. I think it's a very, very healthy change for the Warriors. Something needed to give, and it wasn't just a point increase, because then you leave all the other high fleets in the dust when they try to use Warriors, and just nowhere near the power level that Tyranid Warriors are in Leviathan. The other change, which is a small nerf, but still maybe a decent one, is that the Reaper of Obliterax took a slight nerf. Now it caps the number of mortal wounds you can do at 3. So now there's no longer, swinging, giving yourself 3 extra attacks, and then coming in and doing, 8 mortal wounds on your maximum, or 5 mortal wounds on average, I think is what it broke out to be. Now it's capped at 3, tones down the damage just a little bit. Still an awesome relic to take, and a worthwhile relic to take for all the other special rules it has with it. Just toned it down a little bit, and I welcome the change. Harlequins saw also a slight nerf. The Blaze of Light army rule, special rule. So how Blaze of Light worked is that if models would move, or advance, and then they could shoot, they would count as remaining stationary. They made one slight change to that, meaning if they started the turn inside a transport, they do not get that rule. So it kind of balances out how a lot of Harlequin players have, and they just have all these transport boats lined up, they hop out, and they all count as remaining stationary, and then they can shoot without penalty and do all sorts of damage. Really gives them durability, mobility at the beginning, and still the offensive power of staying out in the open. So I think it's a healthy change. We'll see how it plays out. Harlequins are still a really tough army, and they have been the only ones higher than Tyranids, I think. So, or is the other way around? Tyranids? No, I think it's Harlequins over Tyranids. So we'll see how that balances out. Necrons got a obvious but needed change, and that is the Silent King lost the core keyword. He shouldn't have had it in the first place. I don't know why they waited till this point to change it. It could have been an easy addendum the week after, be like, oops, we forgot that we shouldn't give our Supreme Commander the core keywords so he can heal and do all the stuff to himself. Need to change. It's still going to make Silent King pretty much an auto-include, but he's just not as stupid good as he previously was. So that is it pretty much for the changes. We got some healthy tweaks, some nerfs, some buffs. See if they can rein it in like they showed on the video. There are really 2 armies via their data. 2 armies on top, 2 armies on bottom that are not in the win rate gap that they like. So they're addressing them, and we'll see. 40k is looking ninth edition is pretty balanced in terms of how armies are coming out to play. So I like to see the changes. That's what we got. Is there anything else you would have liked to see with this change, with this balanced data slate? Is there a key, I don't know, unit that should have been tweaked or something, or a special rule? One thing they should have done, as I've been playing around with my demons a little bit, Drago's sword still doesn't ignore demon saves, which is what it's supposed to do. It ignores invuln saves from demons, but demons don't have invuln saves, so now it's a useless sword. They could have addressed that in here. Would have been an easy tweak, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. Oh, they also, I think they should have changed it so your warlord trait on your warlord you don't have to pay the CP for. That was the other thing I wish they should have changed. They didn't. Oh well, we'll see. Maybe they'll do it in the next chapter approved, if there is going to be another chapter approved going into the last 6 months of the game, of 9th edition, potentially. So we'll see. That's all we got. Again, let me know what you guys think in the comments. And thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you next time here at Maelstrom Gaming Studios.